κύριο Παπαστεργίου, τον κύριο Μπασακίδη και τον κύριο Κουρνιώτη και στη συνέχεια θα μιλήσουμε για τα νησιά με την παρουσία των δημάρχων κύριο Κομινέα, Κουκουδάκη της Σίδρας και τον κύριο Χαρχαλάκη, ο οποίος έχει φύγει. Συγγνώμη. Άρα μάλλον θα κάνουμε το session εγώ με τον κύριο Κομινέα. Επειδή έχουμε μια μικρή αλλαγή, ο κύριος Παπαστεργίου πρέπει να χωρίσει επειγόντως με το πλοίο στις 10 και κάτι. Επομένως, θέλαμε να κάνει ένα εισαγωγικό χαιρετισμό και κλεισίματος της παρουσίας του αυτή την φορά στην Ελαφώνησο. Ίσως και μία-δύο κουβέντες έτσι για την θεματική της υποενότητας, αν και μιλήσαμε και χτες, Δημήτρη, έτσι αλλιώς το θέμα. Μπορείς να έρθεις πάνω στο πόντιο.
Αν και είναι κοντά πιάνει. Λοιπόν, καλημέρα κυρίες και κύριοι. Χθες όντως την πρώτη ημέρα των εργασιών συζητήσαμε για το πώς φανταζόμαστε και πώς η Ευρώπη θέλει να κινηθούμε και σωστά θέλει και το κάνει και νομίζω σχετικά γρήγορα στο κομμάτι των 100 κλιματικά πόλεων.
Towards the 100 climate neutral cities. We have discussed the 4 pillars. When it comes to energy, first of all, we should reduce consumption and we should produce clean energy and then store it, find a way to store it. When it comes to the second pillar on sustainable transportation, we will have to see how we will try to revamp our city and combine it with our goal to have open cities, humane cities, cycling and walking friendly cities. And the third pillar concerns waste management. We have a lot of work to do since we will have to leverage the funds that nowadays go to recycling plants and how, of course, we are going to convince citizens to change their mentality. And fifth pillar is awareness raising. Nikos Pastakidis, who is the Vice Mayor of Kalamata and knows us, all of this seems rather easily. However, our concern is how we will move forward, how we will implement all those concerns. And this is why I would like to discuss today. Those 6, 7 Greek cities and Lemesos have a common denominator since they participate in all those programs. For example, Exekonomou, the program for energy saving, is the same for all Greek cities. Now, for the next programming period and for the next programs will be a nice start. For example, Electra, and those 6 municipalities will have a very specific route. And I don't know how we can help other cities catch up with us. Of course, we will have to measure of that progress, but you understand that if you want to measure the energy consumption of buildings, large buildings, private buildings, public buildings, and to understand which is the best way to produce clean energy, one needs financing, people, and resources that we don't have them right now. And this is why we have set up this network of cities, because we have taken up a very heavy responsibility compared to our powers, and I know that Athens and Thessaloniki have an even more difficult job without having a proper mechanism that will allow us to do so. We know that there is a political will, yes, since this is the future. Right now, we should support this will with financing that today are non-existent, if I may say so. We do want our cities to become circular, green. However, it is about time to support this on an institutional level. When it comes to Electra program, we will be supported even more in order to be able to introduce more introduce more public buildings, because we want also to boost entrepreneurship. even if we would be able to include all public buildings in the electoral program, if the society was left alone, if the society did not have motives and the citizens did not have incentives to participate in those programs, you understand that it would be such a waste. This initiative, this European mission for the 100 climate neutral cities, introduces a new way of thinking. Right now in Trikala, we built a new kindergarten, and we have planned it that way in order for that to be a climate neutral kindergarten. And there is also a museum in an old house built in 1820 in Trikala, and we have managed also to improve the energy consumption. We know which is the way forward, and nowadays we will have to, we need help for all those municipalities that have co-signed this agreement that will allow us to move forward together. So this is a huge challenge, and this is environment is a common denominator to every revamping. And even when it comes to the smart cities, we should always focus on how we will be able to help households measure energy consumption. We are building an app that will allow citizens to measure water consumption, electricity consumption, and LNG consumptions. And for example, if we are away during the summer months from our house and we understand that nevertheless there is a great consumption, this app will help us understand that something is off. And we hope that we will be supported in a good way by the central state. In 7 years we will reach 2030, so in less than 18 months we will have to change our habits. And right now I think that it is the time to work harder. And this is what we have shared with the Ministry of the Environment. We have taken up this initiative because we believe that we can do it. Nevertheless, there is no more time. We don't want to just stay on discussions. Those are my first thoughts that I would like to share with you. Technology can be an ally in order to adapt our cities in those new challenges. We have to save natural resources. We are trying to minimize the losses since our networks have been old and we had a lot of losses. And with a smart grid, we can correct a lot of mistakes, and all those things are towards a good direction. But right now we should take up more initiatives and work harder. It was a really nice visit. Rest assured that we should support this effort, since we should support Enrico and his mission. It was a great catching up with all of you one more time.
Thank you so much for this comprehensive introduction. I'd just like to mention that given that today's activities are highly relevant to islands, bye-bye Dimitris, I'd like to say that alongside the initiative in climate neutral and smart cities that relies on national and European initiatives, we will talk about the various policies that have to do with the islands. We will collaborate with Mr. Harhalakis and of course the Central Union of Municipalities in Greece. We want to find the right way to capitalize on the various financing and investment tools available and see whether we can draw inspiration from the various solutions. Technological solutions that are already been implemented in a small scale on the islands need to be implemented at a larger scale in the biggest cities. This is something that we can explore at the end of all the presentations. So, now, after this introduction, I believe that we can start with the agenda. Katerina? We will start with the first thematic. For the time being, we're listening to the coffee stand where they're making a wonderful cappuccino. So, Paul Efmerfidis is a man who needs no introduction. He is involved in the hospitality sector. He offers innovative ecological solutions which he integrates in his businesses. He is focusing on various materials reuse. Recently, he has also embarked on the political journey, so we do realize he's a multifaceted man. He's a businessman, a politician, and an active citizen. Paul, are you with us? Good morning, Paul. You have the floor.
Γεια σας ρε γίγαντες. Ελαφόνισος, σας
Hello,
τηλέφω ρε.
everyone.
Εγώ, με ακούτε?
I'm so jealous
Κάτσε να
of
δω, με
you
ακούνε?
altogether. Can you hear me all right?
Ωραία,
Yes, of
λοιπόν.
course we can.
Εγώ εδώ Αθήνα, κέντρο,
Well,
μαζεύω ψήφους. Καλά το είπες.
unfortunately,
Λοιπόν,
I'm stuck
έρχονται τα
here in
παιδιά εδώ και
Athens,
τους λέμε τι
looking for
πιστεύουμε κτλ.
voters.
Οργανώνετε ωραία πράγματα,
I
συγχαρητήρια.
know that you
Μπράβο
put
σας.
together an
Εμείς
amazing
εκ του μακρόθεν
Keep it up,
προσπαθούμε να
guys.
συνδράμουμε εκεί
We
πέρα
are
στο
trying
έργο.
to contribute
Ήρθαμε, φυτέψαμε ό,τι
and
μπορέσαμε,
be
θέλουμε να
involved
ξανάρθουμε.
in this event.
Αυτό. Γιατί λίγοι είμαστε, έτσι φαίνεται, στην οικολογία, να μπορέσουμε να πάμε το βράδυ για ύπνο και να πούμε έχουμε κάνει έστω ένα μικρό κομματάκι. Έχουμε προσφέρει κάτι. Λοιπόν, εγώ θα πρότεινα τώρα, μιας και πόσα άτομα μαζευτήκαμε εκεί, πόσοι είμαστε, πόσα άτομα. Ωραία, μήπως λοιπόν πούμε να βάλουμε ένα στόχο. Κάθε φορά που μαζευόμαστε για οικολογικό σκοπό, να βάλουμε συμμετείχαν 32 άνθρωποι και τουλάχιστον να φυτέψουμε 32 δέντρα. Τουλάχιστον. Δηλαδή κάθε φορά που κάνουμε κάτι να το συγκεκριμενοποιούμε και να είναι ένας σπόρος. Ένας σπόρος, ας το πούμε, να το πληρώνουμε δηλαδή εμείς που μαζευόμαστε. Τώρα εκεί άμα μου πεις, με πολύ χαρά θα έρθω να βάλουμε 32, 33, 27, όσοι άνθρωποι ήταν εκεί, τετράκια. Και να αυτό να περάσει στο μυαλό μας κάθε φορά που κάνουμε μια οικολογική συγκέντρωση, ότι θα πληρώσουμε το φόρο μας, παιδιά. Ποιος είναι ο φόρος? Τα δέντρα. Και θα ήθελα, μιας και είναι και υπουργός εκεί μαζί μας σήμερα. Δεν είναι, εντάξει. Να περάσουμε, να καταφέρουμε εμείς οι άνθρωποι οι απλοί, να περάσουμε στο Υπουργείο Περιβάλλοντος ένα νόμο. Μην γελάσετε.
Providing for the following: every square meter that is being built in Greece, I don't know which are the relevant taxes, etc. per region, but the new green tax should be the following: every square meter that is being built should entail an obligation for the owner to plant 100 trees per square meter built. How much does it cost in order to plant 100 trees? Well, up to €300.
μεταφράζουμε αυτά που λέω, μεταφράζουν τα
Do we
αγγλικά.
also have simultaneous interpreting? Yes, we do.
So I better speak in English then. Listen, what I believe is that whatever we build, we have a building, in every square meter we build, we must pay a tax. What would be this tax? The tax would be 100 trees for 1 square meter. This tax would sort of be something like 300 euros per meter, but we're not talking about money, we're talking about our lives, so that we breathe better. And then we're talking about wealth, because in some years, all these trees, when they finish their lives and they die, let's say, like us, they perish, okay? Then we have to replant and use the wood for some good purpose. Building houses, building wooden bikes, boats, or whatever it is. And by the way, if you can see me here, what we do, we made already, can you see that?
Very good.
Can you see me? Yes?
That's a perished tree.
Yes, this is 1 million of these hearts. And we are very proud to use the resources we have from the burnt wood from Evia. So I would like then to thank you so much about holding. You see this?
We can say,
right?
Paul, we have a translation if you want, if you prefer. Έχουμε διερμηνία παράλληλα, δεν υπάρχει πρόβλημα.
Ναι, αλλά για να μην κουράζονται οι άνθρωποι, ρε, αυτοί οι Άγγλοι που είναι εκεί μέσα.
Έχουμε 2 διερμηνείς εδώ πέρα, εξαιρετικές κυρίες.
Ωραία, ωραία. Λοιπόν, μακάρι από αυτό το συνέδριο να βγει αυτό.
Let's hope that that will be one of the major outcomes of this conference, to ensure that in every ecological gathering, participants will have to plant a tree. We have already planted a tree, okay, we were more than one apparently yesterday. We will make sure that Enrico next year will plant 1 tree per participant. This should be a tradition in Greece, just like we visit the President of the Republic and we know that we have to wear a tux or a tie. Likewise, when we attend an ecological seminar, we also need to plant a tree. That will be a statutory obligation. It's true, maybe you could also bring forward this obligation every time you go to the parliament or anyone else. Well, when I become an MP, I will ensure that this will be compulsory to all. Now, I don't want to bore you anymore. I love you all. If you ever come to Athens, you are more than welcome to discover that. Can you see that? This is where magic happens. Can you see that? It's like coins. Yes. It's so good having trees as your currency. And I believe that in a few years, wealthy states will not be wealthy due to the fact that they have a lot of gold. They will be wealthy on the basis of the number of trees they have in their territory. Let's hope that we will live to experience that. We hope so too. Thank you so much, Paul. Thank you. Take care. Let's hope that next year you will be here with us. Good morning, everyone. Bye-bye. Katerina, back to you. And after this valuable feedback, we are ready for you. Hello, everyone. It is a great pleasure for me seeing you all gathered here. Yesterday it was another day, but today we are here to talk about the environment, to talk about what we do, what you do. It's all good and nice having royalties visiting. The microphone of Katerina goes on and off on its own accord. We will try to do our best. I'm afraid Katerina's microphone is off. So, we want to transfer knowledge, to exchange ideas. It is so good that we have two members of the Climate Pact in the European Union. And we also have Maria from the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change. We have all those mayors. Because we are holding meetings aiming to actually talk about the theory and then transform it into practice. That's our goal. I would like to talk about Elafonisos echo. Why did Paul connect to join us? Well, because he knows Enrico, because for the past 3 years I have been working with Paul. I have got to learn many things about the environment. Although that now he has embarked on his political journey, I have witnessed this attitude of his, going out there to plant trees, to help people, to support people, because we have also visited other areas. We had been to Soufli in order to plant berry trees, and they had to be replaced, and last Easter we went to Soufli because actually we lost our bearings. That's how we got there, and we heard about the problem with the mulberry trees, and we heard that the producers were quarreling with each other. That's a major problem, because what we need to change is our mindset. We need to put all this complex mindset and competition aside. We always need to collaborate, to cooperate. Yesterday was very important to me. It was so good having all 4 restaurants at near the port collaborating for the lunch. Okay, we could have chosen a single restaurant and have all the newspapers saying that that Prince Albert went there for lunch, etc. We rather had 4 restaurants joining forces in order to host the Prince. Now we see the competitors of the past joining forces, putting their capacity and tables together in order to do what's best for the environment, the Prince and the participants. When it comes to Soufli, we managed to have everyone together, all the producers agreeing on the same price, and now they work all together. This is very beautiful. We're looking forward to repeating that, so that we can have the mulberry trees all grown up in 3 years. And in that way, production will go full Greek. When I got to meet Enrico through Paul, Enrico said, we want to ensure that this poor old man who's Italian, who cannot speak Greek, can raise his voice, because Enrico has worked for 25 years at Johnson & Johnson's. He owns too many beautiful houses all around the world. He could all well sit back, do nothing, relax, enjoy a glass of wine. But Paul realized what Enrico wanted to do from the first day. He wanted to offer things to the island. 40 years ago, he was the first tourist to come to this island. There were hardly any roads getting you to the port of Punta, and he has witnessed this change, this transformation of the island. He has first-hand knowledge of the problems and the challenges of the island. He knows which are the impediments and obstacles due to the population. We have 400, 500 people residing here in the winter. In the summertime, have thousands of tourists flooding the island, leaving all their pollution and waste behind. So, and that was really appreciated because he could do nothing. He's a foreigner practically. So I believe that all those efforts, all those nights we stay up till late in order to write things down and spread the word and raise awareness are totally worth it. So good seeing that today we have more people here with us compared to yesterday. And now I would also like to make a presentation.
All right. So we want our Elafonisos to be the landmark of sustainability. Since Elafonisos has got a special biodiversity and it is a small island, so we can really do something here. And it is really easy to go around by bicycle, so maybe we can try to reduce cars. Okay, and we should also try to de-seasonalize the island and help the locals. And in my opinion, this should happen in a lot of islands because it's very important not to have seasons anymore.
To find a way to keep the seasons, extend the seasons, για να είναι πιο sustainable. Μετά
So, we want to take care of the environment and the archaeological sites, and at the same time we want to help new generations. We should work for the future. Enrico has set up Elafonisos Eco 13 years ago, but during the last 6 years he has taken up more initiatives. For us, even visiting a mayor in an island, we count that as an action, and this is why Nikos from Astipale is here with us, because Enrico came to visit you in your island. So this is also an initiative for us, an action. For the last 7 years we have been organizing ecological days, we have been collecting waste in the beaches, and in 2020 we have set up QR code leaflets in order to understand what has been going on.
We had the first time the website. We start to promote in the universities να έχουμε volunteers εδώ στο νησί από το εξωτερικό να έρθουν να βοηθήσουν σαν τα παιδιά που βλέπετε με τα Elafonisos Eco, μπλουζάκια που είναι από Γαλλία,
and from the University of Lille. And 3 weeks ago they came here to clean beaches, before the Easter and after the Easter. In 2022, our team has set up a master plan for the village and the island, and if you would like to see it, come and talk to me because I can share it with you. And a French TV channel, the so-called Ushaya, came and shot it, and it was broadcasted in 2 million people, I apologize.
και το Rainbow Warrior Ship from Greenpeace.
And the ship, the Rainbow Warrior came here from Greenpeace.
Πολλά που είναι εκεί.
So we have already done a lot of things.
Δεκέμβρη και κάναμε το Eco Week.
And of course the organizing of the Eco Week, the confirmation of the Prince Albert to come here. Let us not forget the BMED project approval, which would start this July, and we have been invited to participate in the Ocean Week in Monaco last March. There we discussed lionfish, and we should focus on lionfish because it will eat up all the other fish and endanger biodiversity. And of course it is a threat for the Mediterranean Sea as a whole. Okay, so there is an article in the National Geographic Journal for Elafonisos, and we will have 120 scouts approximately that will come here during the summer to help us clean up the island. And when it comes to our plan for 2030, we want to make Elafonisos an outstanding laboratory for other islands, an ecological laboratory. And now, I would like to discuss with Nikos. Nikos is a green energy engineer and works with PV panels. And he is also a friend of Paul. And he has also changed a lot of things in his daily life. Now he has helped us be more eco-friendly. We use also bicycle in Athens, and we try to use bicycle whenever we go. We have also reduced shopping, especially me, that I cared a lot about fashion. I buy clothes, but not as I used to do. And I don't buy clothes that I will be able to use only once. And this is something that we try to share with other people. Life is simple and not so complicated. Nick, you have the floor. Hello, everyone. I will be very succinct. As Katarina said, we have been introduced by Paul. He inspired me in various things. Among others, I am one of the few Athenians. I don't know if you live in Athens, but in Athens, we believe that it is impossible to go around by bike. I have managed it. I use an electrical bike. And this is something that can be done. I use it every day. And really, it has changed my mentality, my way of life. And in my opinion, it is something doable. And I believe that this is even easier to use only bikes in the island of Elafonisos. I discussed yesterday with a fisherman. We held a discussion in the port. And he told me that in Samos Beach, you cannot reach it. There are a lot of cars and you don't have parking space. So, in my opinion, it is necessary for the island of Elafonisos to adopt electric bikes because the road is also uphill, goes uphill sometimes, but we need also a PVC charging station that will charge the energy for the bikes. And another proposal would be to have 2 or 3 electrical vans during the summer with PV C charging station that will try to transport people to the beach. But I have understood that this is one of the most important problems in the island. And of course it impacts the environment when we have all those cars that could be either prohibited or reduced, or use clean energy for those cars, so to say. And maybe you could try and make Elafonisos independent when it comes on energy. We will have, of course, to take into consideration the resources availability and the prices. During the recent war, we have seen that everything is possible and we can be independent and use the solar energy and produce energy in order not to be dependent from LNG. And I believe that small local communities, as the one in Elafonisos, we should try and make them energy independent, so to say. So, in my opinion, this is the way to go, to start from small teams and then try to implement this strategy also to larger cities. This is all that I had to say. Thank you very much, Nikos. Today, we don't follow the agenda strictly. We have started with the discussion with Mr. Papasteriou, the president of the Union of Municipalities, but now we have the vice mayor of Kalamata, Mr. Nicolas Basakidis, who has done a lot of work in the municipality of Kalamata, and he's here to share with us what their municipality have been doing.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Nicolas Basakidis. I'm the deputy mayor at Kalamata. Kalamata is an urban and large city. Quality of life to everyone's mind is linked with the necessity to flee the city. However, over the past years, people go to big urban centers, and Europe says that this is something that needs to be addressed. We need to try and make our cities climate neutral. Yesterday I talked about a few things and actions that we have undertaken in Kalamata in order to ensure that the challenge of the past become an opportunity. Right now, the agenda of the European Union to achieve climate neutrality by 2030 means that the bar for cities is rather high. Just like Dimitris Papasteriou said before, it is very difficult to get there. However, we need to keep up all this good work. And of course, I will be more clear and succinct. Right now, our cities have a unique opportunity to tackle climate change. The goal is for everyone to collaborate in order to change the way in which cities operate. When we talk about a medium-sized city such as the city of Kalamata, I don't know what happens in Athens, I'm not competent to talk about that. The major problem we're being faced with has to do with mobility. meaning that citizens have a hard time move around the city on a daily basis. We have a rather extended surface on the city. Nonetheless, we see that too many operations of the city are grouped in a single place. So, given that our city is a hub for the entire region of Messenia, and I was so happy having listened to the wife of Kostas Miras that she also visits Kalamata for many reasons other than for practical red tape related issues. You do realize that we host people from all around Greece and especially the Peloponnese. You say that you travel there for fun, for leisure, but I'm talking about the necessity of having everyone living in a wide radius all around Kalamata, visiting Kalamata in order to do the job. So what have we done? We started opting for soft mobility. We want to enhance that, and I was discussing that with Nikolaos Komineas. He's a fellow citizen, and we talked about the way in which they operate in terms of mobility. They also have non-privately owned vehicles. Electrical cars are part of our planning. Anyway, we want to move towards this direction in order to address problems that have to do with mobility and transportation in the city. By transportation, I'm talking about the major problems that have to do with the supply chain, the logistics of the market. Today, things are not organized. Although rules are in place, at least that's what we do, there are instructions as to when the stores can receive supplies. I'm afraid that not many people follow that, meaning that this is not that well organized. I will give the floor to Thanasis Kouniotis then, and he will talk about smart cities. Right now, as we speak, we have already completed the technical description of the various interventions in order to draft the climate contract that we have to do. It's an obligation because we participate in a specific working group for smart cities. We have completed this technical bulletin providing for what we're going to do and how. Well, when it comes to cost estimates, I will elaborate on that later on so that you can have a better overview. So, on the one hand, our goal is to reduce the need for vehicles within the city centre, and also we want to become independent from fossil fuel for transportation reasons. Okay, and that might be the first step. Even if we achieve that, we'll also need to ensure traditional vehicles with electric vehicles. I want you to keep that in mind, but what does it mean to have electric vehicles circulating around the city? What does it mean moving from fossil fuel to energy, and I'm talking about clean energy. Another source is the buildings reserve, because you do realize that the greenhouse gas emissions increase, and I'm trying to share my professional view because I'm also a professor. We tend to listen to the fact that carbon dioxide emissions are so many, and so we try to measure them using a global unit. Either it has to do with oil or lignite or anything else. This is translated into carbon monoxide equivalent. That's a unit to measure climate neutrality. So there is the need to replace internal combustion engines. But what will the fuel be? Clean energy. Okay, if we have that, that's all good and well. We have hydrogen, technology advances, develops and grows. So we don't know what can replace internal combustion engines. Buildings reserve. We start with residences. At Kalamata, according to our surveys, we know that buildings account for 60% of all greenhouse gas emissions.
Αφορά τις κατοικίες και τον τριτογενή τομέα. Στον τριτογενή τομέα, ξενοδοχεία, βιοτεχνίες, βιομηχανίες, νοσοκομεία, σχολεία, τα πάντα, ενώ τα άλλα είναι καθαρά οι κατοικίες. Έχουμε ολοκληρώσει λοιπόν την καταγραφή μας και είδαμε ότι οι οποίες χρειάζεται να κάνουμε στον κτηριακό τομέα είναι παρεμβάσεις εξοικονόμησης ενέργειας, ένα το κρατούμενο για να μειώσουμε την ανάγκη για ενέργεια, και το δεύτερο είναι να αντικαταστήσουμε την ενέργεια που χρησιμοποιούμε με ορυκτά καύσιμα με καθαρή ενέργεια. Εδώ χρειαζόμαστε πάρα πολλές επενδύσεις. Αφήνω την αναγκαία καθαρή ενέργεια που θα πρέπει να παράξουμε. Χρειαζόμαστε πάρα πολλές επενδύσεις για την ανακαίνιση ιδιαίτερα του κελίφους. Μόνο στην πόλη της Καλαμάτας ο σχεδιασμός προϋπολογισμός που έχει γίνει έχει ξεπεράσει το 1 δις.
And this is a planning
Όταν έχουμε περίπου 5 εκατομμύρια τετραγωνικά μέτρα σπίτια,
when we have 5 million square meters of homes, you do realize how extensive this cost for shell renovation
άλλα
is.
ζητήματα, όπως
This
είναι
also raises other questions. For example, what are the raw materials required in order to do those interventions, those refurbishments?
Συγκλίνουν στον αν θέλουμε να έχουμε εξοικονόμηση το ότι οι καυστήρες πετρελαίου θα αντικατασταθούν με αντιλίες θερμότητας. Άρα μιλάμε για μια τεράστια ποσότητα, φανταστείτε 20.000 κατοικίες τώρα στην πόλη, θα χρειαστούν 20.000 residences in the city requiring 20,000 Άρα η αγορά προσανατολίζεται σε άλλες κατευθύνσεις πλέον. Και φτάνουμε στο τέλος να πούμε ποιες είναι οι ανάγκες σε καθαρή ενέργεια. Σήμερα με τις εκπομπές που έχουμε καταγράψει, όλα αυτά είναι ποσοτικά στοιχεία που έχουν προκύψει από δουλειά που έχει γίνει και για η πόλη έχει
Our city has 400,000 carbon dioxide units equivalent. When it comes to energy, this means 670 gigawatt hours. How are we going to find them? Thanks to the sun? Well, in order to build photovoltaics, we need to invest a very extensive and large surface. If you consider that a 10,000 kilowatt unit requires, for 1 megawatt, we need 15 streams of land. So you do realize, more or less, that it is very difficult, even if we make the most of all free spaces on the roofs or of the buildings. It's very difficult to ensure that this clean energy is being generated by solar energy alone. So that's another topic. Right now, I am sharing with you the various concerns that we have seen according to the working groups in the city, because we do have the working groups, and it is a wonderful journey that we have embarked on. It is a journey where we have university people, people in the market, we focus on mobility. We also have other teams, academia, people focusing on energy, waste and waste management. And all that puts together what we call the climate contract in our cities. The concern remains, how are we going to find clean energy? And there's also another question, how can we refurbish, how can we revamp our buildings reserve and industry reserves and the tertiary sector in general? This is where we need to start with. We need to start by raising awareness among everyone. This is something that needs to be promoted. Like I said, we turned some crises into opportunities. We had the first crisis in 2010, and as of the year 2015, we started replacing municipal lighting. We economized 85%. This means that out of 8 million kilowatt hours, that number dropped to 1.6 million kilowatt numbers. So that's a profit that we reinvest in other things. Floods were the other crisis that we had to face, and this made us think of other ways in which we could protect our cities put together flood protection means and measures in order to meet the climate neutrality goals. I think that this is what, to my point of view, should consider. And we at local administration, not only in Greece, not only in Kalamata, but we also discuss with other ministers, because in Greece we have a network of 85 mayors, 85 municipalities that really care and are more aware of what we call climate neutrality. And by climate neutrality, I'm talking about the quantitative means and measures, climate crisis, and whether this affects the production and our habits in general. I think I have gone too long. I have taken too much of your time, dear Kostas. Thank you for allowing me to express myself. I was able to share what I have been experiencing in my city. This is a journey we have embarked on that I really enjoy, and I'm so happy for being here today on this occasion. I hope that this will be very helpful to everyone. Mayor, you have also signed the Memorandum of Understanding with the other municipalities. We feel like our city is a missionary in order to spread the word in the region of the Peloponnese. We want to share all those good practices with you, with everyone. Let's hope that we'll have more such meetings in the future. Let's hope that everyone will become more familiar with climate neutrality. And the previous speaker talked about the charging station here in the city at Elafonisos. We know that there's a necessary infrastructure, and we also have other records talking about where we should install those things, but they need to operate on the basis of green energy. That's all. The comments from the audience are off the microphone and therefore cannot be translated. Thank you. Sorry if I have talked too long. I just wanted to express all my thoughts and ideas. Thank you.
Κύριε Μπασακίδη,
αν θέλετε
να καθίσετε μαζί μας, έτσι θα έχουμε και τον κύριο Κουρνιώτη και έχουμε μαζί μας και τη χαρά μου τον κύριο Περιφερειάρχη Λακωνίας, τον κύριο Θεόδωρο Βερούτη, για να κάνουμε μια μικρή συζήτηση στο κλείσιμο. Καθίστε μαζί εδώ πέρα, ο Θανάσης Κουρνιώτης. Πάνω για να σας ακούσουμε έτσι πιο άνετα και να σας δούμε. Υπάρχει παρουσίαση, Θανάση?
Do you have a presentation, Thanasis? No, I don't have a PowerPoint presentation.
Πολύ ωραία.
Hello everyone, thank you for this invitation. Can you all hear me all right? Yes, okay. So it is a great honor for me finding myself among all those mayors who have done so many wonderful things. I represent the private sector, and you do realize it's a privilege for me being able to witness what happens. I apologize for my Greek, but I have spent more than 27 years abroad, so I'm trying to reset my mind and my linguistic skills. Sometimes people ask me abroad what a smart city is all about, and I offer them examples from Greece. I was born in Athens, so I'm half Athenian and half resident of Kalamata, and this is my affiliation with this region. Here we find ourselves in the ancient kingdom of Sparta, and usually, when I talk about that abroad, try to explain what a smart city is all about, people say that it's all about technology. No, it's not about technology. It goes beyond that, and everything starts out with society. And the example I like to bring forward is the paradigm of the Peloponnesian War. Sparta and Athens were very upgraded back then, technology-wise. Back then, Sparta was even more developed compared to Athens. They focused mainly on weapons and defense, and this is why they won the Peloponnesian War. But in history, Athens prevailed. Have you ever considered why? Well, it is a good example because Athens, thanks to its innovation, culture, people and collaboration, prevailed and grew more. It is very important realizing what it actually means being part of a smart city. And this allows me to say something about how we want to share our experiences about smart cities. We have seen so many examples abroad from cities. We have seen what they have achieved and what they have lost. So I will summarize that on 4 points.
I will not talk about solutions because on a technical level it would be easy to find solutions. First of all, we need different way of thinking. It needs a paradigm shift, a change of mentality. And an example is which is the definition of sustainability. Imagine that we are back in 18,000 and we try to think for sustainable development back then. How can we plan for the future? An engineer back then would say to you that you need a more effective horse that drinks less water and eats less feed, because nobody could assume that new technologies are coming and that will change the way of our life. This is the same situation that we're experiencing right now. We cannot understand how the conditions will change with artificial intelligence, with a lot of other dimensions. We don't know what might come in the future and how this will change the future. So first of all, we should adopt another way of thinking. We have learned to think about the future with the past terms. So we have also a legislative framework of the past, so we should also change the legislative framework in order to be able to adapt in those new conditions. The second is cooperation and the critical mass. One cannot make a smart city if you don't have the collaboration among different groups that can work together and come up with new ideas. So this is the critical mass when it comes to ideas, resources and people. Right now, you have all those mayors here and discuss, and people from the private sector and from other countries. This is what the critical mass is all about. The third point is the understanding of the conditions that we're living in and the world that we're living. We used the so-called VUCA word. VUCA means volatility. The first word is a volatile word. We cannot foresee the future. The technology, the climate crisis, the change might be something good, but volatility is something bad. We discuss climate, we discuss technology, economy, so all those elements should be taken into consideration when we plan for solutions. The second thing is the uncertainty. We cannot predict the future, since we are not aware of the conditions of the future, but based on those issues, we should accept that we live in an uncertain world. So we have to adopt a different way of thinking and try to find solutions in a different way. Third is the understanding of the situation that we are living to. Cooperation, I have mentioned volatility, uncertainty and cooperation. So the fourth element is this holistic approach. you will, we have been discussing various projects. So we usually think in a linear way. We think about water, we think about buildings. However, this is an interconnected system, and this is how we should adopt a holistic approach. This is how we should approach smart cities. And let us not forget technology and sustainability. We should think that there is no smart cities without taking into consideration sustainability. London, for example, faced this problem. London had three different wigs, three different groups that they have set up, three different plans. There was another group for digital, they have been setting up their own plans, and there was another group that's setting up a plan for resilience. All those groups had never discussed all those plans in combination. Nobody brought those groups all together, and they have not thought about synergies. So I would like to share with you those 3 points. And this is what I wanted to say when it comes to smart cities. Thank you very much for those words. If you want, you can sit here with us. I would like to ask Mr. Veroutis to share a few thoughts on this topic. I'm sure that the region has also taken up various initiatives. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I have prepared some words, but now I would like to continue the discussion, so to say. First of all, I would like to wish the best for his help to my friend Erikos. We would love to have him back quickly, because Elafonisos needs him. I have listened to various opinions, discussions. Enrico came here 45 years ago, and Elafonisos had no roads. That traveled me back to my childhood. Yes, 40 years ago, we came here to Elafonisos, and we had rusks and tomato with us, and there was a fishing boat called the Fighter. Yeah, there was a fishing boat that we transferred us to a beach that was magical to us. We went to a beach that it is like the Caribbean and it is virgin, but things change. Now the island has got roads, and this is the Emerald Island of Peloponnesus can now have guests. And of course, when we talk on Elafonisos, we should try use words such as tourism product, but we have said it also discussed it about other times that we have to take into consideration the abilities of the island. It is a small island, and as it happens in other Greek areas, the tourist season is rather short and limited. We should try to disseminate, so to say, the word and try to have visitors and tourists all around the year. Elafonisos can support it. It is at the south of Greece, at the south of Laconia, with good climatological conditions, and it can also have visitors during September and October. Now, the region of Peloponnese, and let me say here that last year I was responsible for the next programming period when it comes to the European funds, and we have been discussing the strategic goals by the United Nations organization. This was one of the prerequisites that would allow us to move forward with the regional plan for Peloponnese. And when we discuss about sustainability, we do not discuss only for Europe. We should also take into consideration digital economy, holistic approach of things that I have listened Mr. Koumiotis mention earlier. So when it comes to the projects that we implement, we try to include sustainability, to take into consideration this factor, especially when it comes to projects that take place in sensitive areas. Last period, we try to conserve the city of Monemvasia. In Monemvasia, we also try to change the lighting of the castle. We want to make up for the stars and the moon when they don't shed their light to the castle. Mrs. Depot is the one working with us, and we believe that it would be done in a very nice way. And we have a lot of cultural projects that we implement in collaboration with the Ministry of Culture, because this is also strategical to showcase and improve the accessibility of the iconic archaeological sites in Laconia, and we want it to be done in such a way that would take into consideration sustainability and the environmental protection. So, the head of the region, the governor of the region, is always focusing on sustainability, and he always focusing on planting more trees. He wants to plant more and more trees and more plants, and this is something also very important. So we are here in Elafonisos in collaboration with the municipality of Elafonisos and Efiliarou. We use the program Inherit, and we set the foundation, we laid the foundation for a wonderful archaeological site to become a tourist attraction, an attraction that would be accessible by the tourists of the region. The region of Peloponnese, you know very well that for the last 2 years we have changed our cars, and we now use electric cars. And of course, electricity should come from green energy in order to avoid problems. However, we have replaced our car fleet with electric cars. We have installed chargers in Sparti and also in other areas of Laconia, and we have been discussing this remark with Efiliarou. And as Mr. Christopoulos said, Elafonisos is a place that could benefit from electric vehicles, such as electric bikes, for example. And this would allow us to achieve a more safe environment, if you wish. However, every time that I come here and visit Elafonisos, I do not forget what the mayor has said, that we, the people of the local administration, we are judged by how much we are going to improve the quality of life of the citizens. And when the winter months are coming, the island is left with its citizens. And I'm sure that the mayor here and the municipality of Elafonisos has taken care, and the new school of Elafonisos has been been constructed. We try to improve the existing road network, and we try also to have the roads safe for the people, and in collaboration with the municipality of Elafonisos, we are trying to find financial resources in order to have good quality and enough water here in the municipality of Elafonisos, and of course we try to improve the lighting, the electricity lighting. So we are waiting for the PPC contractor in order to start working on this project as well. In my opinion, Elafonisos is an island that gives added value to Laconia. It is the only island of the region of Peloponnese, so we owe our debts to Elafonisos, and during the next time we will do more. And I know that we are late in some issues. I rest assured, I know what we should do. I wish this conference to be very successful. I want to have very useful conclusions. We should have conclusions, and we should commit on those conclusions. All of us who are here today, we will try to make all those plans a reality. Thank you very much for your attention.
Ευχαριστούμε πολύ τον κύριο Βερούτη. Θα ήθελα, έχουμε μια παρουσίαση από την κυρία Παπαδοπούλου, που πρέπει να αναχωρήσει σχετικά σύντομα, αλλά έτσι κλείνοντας λίγο το πρώτο session, την πρώτη ενότητα σχετικά με τις κλιματικά ουδέτερες πόλεις, θα ήθελα να ζητήσω το σχόλιο των δύο συνομιλητών στο πάνελ σχετικά με το πώς θα βλέπανε το κόνσεπτ των κλιματικά ουδέτερων πόλεων και των έξυπνων πόλεων να εφαρμόζεται σε μια πολύ μικρή πόλη, έτσι όπως αυτή της Ελαφωνήσου, με τα ιδιαίτερα χαρακτηριστικά που έχει, την εγκύτητα με την υπηρετική Ελλάδα, την εποχικότητα που ακούσατε έτσι και στην τουριστική δραστηριότητα και την οικονομία, αλλά και τη μεγάλη επιθυμία να παραμένει ζωντανή και λειτουργική έτσι, για όλο τον χρόνο, όταν ο ήλιος δεν
they don't have tourists, and when during the winter with harsh weather conditions. I would like to start from Mr. Basakidis and then continue with Mr. Kourniotis, and then I will give the floor to Mrs. Papadopoulou because she has to go away.
The surface of the municipality of Elafonisos is such that allows for it to meet the climate neutrality goals earlier than ourselves. If what dear Nikos said before it's true, you can prohibit internal combustion engine vehicles crossing the sea to come to the island and only allowing electric vehicles to come here. That's the most easy thing. Installing charging stations, well, that's the easy part. And that's very important because this is something already made. You have someone to put it together. Nikos Komnineas knows about it very well. So this means that other Nikos can give you instructions about that Electromobility is something that we have studied in depth, so you have a size that allows you to do that. Soft mobility vehicles are also an option. Siemens is relatively okay with not such extensive uphill streets. When it comes now to building reserves, that's another issue. You don't have too many houses, so it is easier for you to improve that in order to save energy. You have sunlight, you have available roofs, meaning that you can install photovoltaics. Solar panels can also be installed. And therefore, I believe that you have other problems to address. Those are the simplest issues to address. You have to deal with water and waste. I don't know what you do in order to manage those things. Okay, you have them crossing the sea and disposed on the other side of your port. Okay, while I was talking, I was thinking about that as well, and I wanted to share a few things, but this is the key point. You have a significant size, meaning that you're eligible for various projects. How? Well, actually, I have not talked about that, and I would like to listen to Mr. Komneas talking about the digital infrastructure, because I thought that Thanasis could talk about that. We have digital infrastructures that benefit micromobility in a city, of course, in Elafonisos as well. And you do realize that visitors will understand that our environmental footprint is very small. The comments from the audience are off the microphone. Okay, I will be very brief because more or less I agree with what my fellow panelists have already said. Scale is a key factor in terms of what a smart city can achieve. The smaller scale means that complexity is similarly less, so it is easier to implement things. However, a flexible planning and design is necessary. Small scale is helpful because technologies change so quickly. And we know that we need to have such a planning, ensuring that many things will be adjusted at the moment of the implementation, because okay, we might have design phase and planning phase. Many things will change until we get to the implementation phase. Many things will change, so we need to be more flexible. Smaller scale, high flexibility. Those are the 2 points I'd like to make. Of course, it's up to complexity and flexibility. We will talk about digital systems later. Thank you for those introductory comments and proposals. So we have heard the proposals from my colleagues. We want to ensure that we have some time for Q&A, but Ms. Papadopoulou has to leave at 11:30, and she's going to talk about biodiversity and Natura. Before giving the floor to Ms. Papadopoulou, I would like to listen to what Ms. Liarou has to say about that, because we listen to many things from the representatives of bigger cities. Many things have crossed my mind in terms of the complexities and advances when it comes to implement all these things. We know that there are many obstacles, even when we talk about creating charging stations. So I'm looking forward to listening to your comments, and we are here in order to support even the weaker parties. Feel free to take the floor, speak from the podium, but you need to take a microphone. Well, you do realize that small scale is beneficial in order to implement things, but the truth is somewhere in between. This small island is blessed to be part of the Natura 2000 and is also declared as an archaeological site. This entails red tape procedures that are very difficult. Okay, it's not such an impediment, and at least it's not something to justify us refrain from doing something. Significant steps forward have been made. I have already thanked Ms. Papadopoulou because all the things that we have done, and we need to get the opinion of the right supervisory authorities. If those opinions arrive in late, that's devastating, meaning that we're not able to translate into practice the theory we have promised our citizens. I don't think it is an impediment, but again, there is this in-between step, and in your cities, this is not the case.
Νομίζω ότι μπορείτε να κρατήσετε το μικρόφωνο εκεί αν χρειαστεί.
Feel free to keep the microphone because we might need your input later. Let me propose the following. After thanking you for your answer, the comments are again off the microphone.
Θα έχουμε τώρα μαζί μας την πρόεδρο του ΦΠΚ να μας παρουσιάσει και εκείνη από τη μεριά της τα προνόμια και τις δυσκολίες που έχει η Ελαφώνησος σε μια τέτοια περιοχή.
We know that Elafonisos has been faced with so many problems. Later, we will listen to a presentation by Konstantinos Macheras.
Έτσι λέει η ατζέντα.
At least that's what the agenda says. And we also have a session on smart islands. I will give my yesterday's presentation and Mr. Komneas again. I guess that we can have a discussion focusing on the particularities of Elafonisos in between. I don't know whether Ms. Papadopoulou is here with us. She can give her presentation first so that she can leave. She was here a few minutes ago. Comments off the microphone. Please take the microphone. Well, while waiting for Ms. Papadopoulou, further to what we were discussing yesterday about consultation with citizens at Kalamata and listening to what you described about your office in London, where you have sustainability and other aspects elsewhere, the social aspect, what does it fall in? And I see that Maria is here with us. I cannot help but wonder, I don't know which are the reactions of the citizens and how you can get them on board. Maria has arrived, so maybe we can leave the social aspect later. Well, yes, Konstantinos, it is true that interesting presentations will be made by Mr. Komneas, among others, who will elaborate on projects implemented at Astipala. Maybe we can discuss that at the end. Thank you for this very interesting question.
Την Natura και τη βιοποικιλότητα της περιοχής.
She will talk about Elafonisos. First of all, I would like to thank the mayor, those who invited us, and of course, I would like to thank the Elafonisos Eco Initiative. Let's hope that Enrico will feel better soon and return to his beloved Elafonisos sooner. Now, it's only a few months ago that I came to find out about this initiative, and this is why we wanted to make a contribution, hoping that our collaboration will continue. And it's so good that we have so many mayors here, because they're passionate about sustainability and the future of the generations to come. We know that this is very important. I would like to introduce our organization to you, because we are the competent organization for the protection of the natural environment and protected areas. We talk about a surface account of 30% of the land and 20% of the marine environment. 446 Natura areas are the ones listed in Greece. So you do realize that this is a very important part that shouldn't be excluded from discussions concerning sustainable growth. Those are the areas, those are the examples that can lead the way for the generations to come. Those are examples of sustainability. Can I please have my PowerPoint on? Okay, let's move forward. Our organization was established back in 2020. It is the culmination of the concentration of the various national environment management bodies all around the country. We haven't lost our former role. It's just now that the system is more flexible. So we have a central structure of the Natural Environment and Climate Change Agency in Athens. It's OFIPECA. Our agency was established by virtue of Law 4586 of 2020. It is a modern system for governance of protected areas. This means that we adopted a system asking for economies of scale. All mayors know what I'm talking about. We try to collect everything that had to do with standalone units and bring them under a unified umbrella, ensuring that 350 executives we have all around Greece focusing on what they should actually do, preserve those areas rather than focusing on drafting technical bulletins and sheets and all that. And this is very important. We know that those are necessary in order to obtain financing and funding for those areas, but this is extremely time-consuming. Now, let's move forward. Those are our areas. We have 24 decentralized units. Elafonisos is part of those units. At Parnanas unit, it's the light green areas at the bottom of the map. What we try to do is to ensure that various actions are being undertaken. The microphone of the speaker goes on and off. It was just 1 year ago that we managed to be fully operational. We have an action plan with 59 actions scheduled for the years 2022-2024, focusing on nature protection, citizen mobilization, activation, climate change, infrastructure works, as well as our governance system. We focus more on that, then we focus on biodiversity and, of course, citizen engagement and activation. We were lucky enough because as soon as the organization was established, we also submitted a proposal to the Recovery Fund, and the Commissioner himself came to the Parliament saying that this is one of the most interesting proposals. 100 million euro would be given for biodiversity. It's the first time that such a budget is given for the biodiversity. And of course, this has to do with a well-known 30 million initiative regarding the pathways for biodiversity. We have already submitted the various calls to the mayors, and we're looking forward to submitting the relevant proposals. This is addressed to local administration, the first and second degree, and we're looking forward to receiving the proposals of those entities as well as of Mount Athos. You know what happens there and how relevant those areas are. Hopefully, this happened in collaboration with Mr. Papasteriou from the Central Union of Municipalities of Greece, KEDE, and we're in direct communication with numerous executives from KEDE. This is something that was immediately embraced by all heads of regions and mayors. 30 million out of the 100 million budget will focus on restoring the various paths. Labeling, planning, constructions are on the agenda, and we will be more than happy to finance those projects. We have the deadline, and the deadline is June 30th. Let's hope that we will collect a valuable set of proposals, and then we will have a committee that will be announced by the Prime Minister, and let's hope that we have a relevant minister to appoint this evaluation committee so that we can move forward. The second critical part with the Recovery Fund is the system for permanent monitoring and preservation. We will give 15 million to ensure that all those areas are being monitored. We will change the vehicles and boats fleet. We also have drones. We obtain satellite images, monitoring protocols, so that those protected areas can have the necessary infrastructure that is necessary for the country and the environment.
And right now, dear Mayor, I would like to say that when it comes to the carrying capacity, as the Mayor said before, we have to understand which is the carrying capacity of this area. We want people to come and visit, but on our own terms, since those places should be preserved based on our own rules, and then we will be able to enjoy those places. Something else which is very important is the standardization nature of Greece, a certification rather, which will allow us to promote Greek products in the protected areas. 1 million will be spent on businesses, on municipalities. Anyone who would like to get that certification, ensuring that they follow environmental friendly practices, and that branding will give them an added value. Now, this is the Recovery Fund, and of course you see the islands. We also have another project which also receives funding for the special way that the islands and the lands on the islands are built. Here, very shortly, I would like to discuss two iconic projects: the Red List of the endangered species, in collaboration with IUCN. We have listened that yesterday that the press showed interest, since we registered 14,000 species, in a lot of them endemic, and we are one of the few countries that will have a full list of endangered species, both flora and fauna. In a few months, all those data will be available. We have 65 scientists who work on those very special species, fungi, flora and fauna, various issues. 1.5 million will be spent on that project, will be given for parks, for geoparks. We have 7 UNESCO geoparks, and 120,000 euros to each geopark to organize actions. UNESCO wants to preserve biodiversity and at the same time asks for sustainable development and collaboration with the local communities. Recently, there was a conference on geoparks on Sitia, Crete, which was very successful. Lesbos is also a great example. NECA, our organization, has not only the Kefalonia Geopark, but also the Voraikos. We have 7 special units that try to detect the poisoned food which is given to the animal, poisoned baits. And there is a study of the Hellenic Ornithological Society that says that unfortunately the poisoned baits which are placed by people in various places are the ones that endangered our fauna and not windmills. And sometimes it is good to debunk some myths and to leave them aside. There are some studies for endemic endangered species. There is a project with funding of 330,000 euros with field studies, and we will give more funds to also to other field studies with and we will also grant money to 5 PhDs. We will spend 1 million euros for research in biodiversity, and they will be given to Greek universities. Antikythera do not have only the National Observatory, but also the station that we have been setting up, the station of the Ornithological Society, with a budget of 300,000 in order to keep up the operation of this of those species. And last but not least, a very important project on the biodiversity within the archaeological sites. We will give 320,000 euros to study biodiversity in the archaeological sites. We will start from Olympia, Delphi, Acropolis, and 20 archaeological sites in Greece. Because due to the specificities and due to the fact that they are guarded, we can help endangered species live there. So in collaboration with the National Competition University of Athens, with the Ministry of Culture, and with stakeholders all around Greece, scientists that work on National Competition University will help us conduct this research. We participate in various programs, and of course we organize a lot of actions. I don't know if we can show the video that I have got. 5th of June, it is the Day of Environment, and we have prepared 40 actions around Greece for the World Environmental Day. I don't know if we can see, if we can watch the video.
Περιβάλλοντος. Γιορτάστε τη φύση μαζί μας με 40 εκδηλώσεις σε όλη την Ελλάδα. Γνωριμία με το περιβάλλον και τη βιοποικιλότητα. Ξεναγήσεις. Πεζοπορίες. Περιβαλλοντικά παιχνίδια. Εργαστήρια. Συμμετέχουμε, ενημερωνόμαστε, ορίζουμε τις προτεραιότητες για ό,τι αγαπάμε να φροντίσουμε. Οργανισμός Φυσικού Περιβάλλοντος και Κλιματικής Αλλαγής.
Αλλά νομίζω είναι αυτό που δείχνει ότι πραγματικά το περιβάλλον μπορεί να αποτελέσει έτσι μια πολύ δυναμική
I'm sure that we will, both as a society and local administration should work harder in order to do more and to be prepared for an even better future. And thank you very much for your attention.
Ευχαριστούμε.
Thank you very much, Mr. Papadopoulou. So you are doing a lot of things. I congratulate you on your activities and the good work that you have been doing with local administration, a lot of good funding opportunities. Mrs. Laro, in my opinion, maybe for the next Eco Week we should try and strengthen the collaboration with NECA, since the municipality is rather small and maybe NECA can help us with technical support and assistance. So I think that it would be a good idea for you to collaborate with NECA. The mayor's comments are off the mic. So I would like to thank a lot Mrs. Papadopoulou for the collaboration that we have in our supervisory authority, and we all try to do our best. Either we're working in the public sector, in the private sector, but when it comes to local administration, it is even more important to do that extra mile, because it is not a given. Last year there was a program, and we have implemented part of that action here in Elafonisos, and we have put up signages, because synergies are information, because visitors, of course, are not aware that this is a protected area and they might destroy it, but if they know, there are no excuses. And we have also set up wooden bins with eco-friendly materials, as well as corridors with the characteristics prescribed by NECA in order to try and avoid the problems with the beaches. As I have said before, we will be able to listen to understand the importance of those programs with the deliverables, when the deliverables will be understood and experienced by the citizens and the visitors. On my behalf, I would like to say that we visit all our areas. Me and the managing director, in order to understand local issues. Carrying capacity is very important, and various rules. So what do you believe that you should do? We are here to help you implement it, not only on an institutional level, but also on a financial level when it comes to resources. But you should decide on the rules, because you will be the guards of those rules, and you will be able to monitor their implementation. Of course, we can give you know-how, we can give you assistance. However, the gatekeepers, you are the gatekeepers, so you will have to come to us with specific proposals on an institutional and on a financial level, and then we will be able to discuss with the ministry various proposals, and we believe that it is always good to have proposals by the mayors. So we are looking forward to having you over in Athens, in our offices, to discuss the issues more specifically. I apologize because I have to leave now. Now, I would like to ask something when it comes to the program on the ridges. You have said that the 50% is subsidized. However, the problem with the invitation, with the tenders, is that there is no plan for these specificities. In Andros, there is a network of paths more than 300 kilometers, and more than 150 are certified. My question is, if I install a bench with eco-friendly materials and then it will be destroyed given the time, who is going to give me the money for the conservation of that bench? Own resources, that is very difficult to find own resources for the ridges. Own resources, can we find, for example, resources from a donor, private donor? So Andros, our island, has a very specific geography, because we have a lot of ridges and we have a lot of stone paths. However, we should be realistic. When I discussed with Effie, we have been said that it's good to have a small municipality because it is easy to implement various things. The problem with financing is that there is no plan for the maturity of the project. I have tried to improve things in my municipality, and I always face the issue of money. How will be able to conserve and preserve those projects? Municipalities do not have income, and they cannot undertake the conservation of all those projects. It is very different to set up a path in central Greece, and it is very different to have this stone path and to not be able to preserve those paths. We don't have people, human resources or financial resources. The structuring fund for the conservation, the structuring fund has got a program for the conservation of those stone paths. However, when it comes to the ridges, it is, I understand your issue, but we have to start from someone. When I take up the management of NECA, you understand that the resources were less. This is not only your problem, we share this problem. This is a common, a shared issue. However, we should start and prioritize issues and to have a plan because we should start from somewhere. I understand your point on the conservation, but maybe you should send us institutional proposals regarding conservations. Maybe we would be able to adopt them and the ministry may adopt them as well. This is food for thought. We go abroad and imagine what I want to say. I don't want to express it right now. So we should try and propose things, and we should not be afraid to start a discussion and to propose various proposals. I haven't said anything bad. No, Elafonisos enjoys a very good collaboration between the municipality and NECA, and I'm sure that with the help of Elafonisos and Enrico, we will be able to take up more actions. Thank you very much. Enrico initiated this meeting, and his goal and his vision is for us to adopt this mission and this vision and go forward and take up action. Thank you very much.
Ναι. Έχουμε 3 παρουσιάσεις.